my lovelies, and welcome to another crafting video. Today, for part one of our easy make journal series, I want to talk a little bit about how we can find supplies, how we can find photographs, written word, images, paintings, all sorts of things like that. Many images, shall we say, on the internet that we can use in our crafting lives and in our junk journaling. So if most of you are probably aware that to use anything, we have to access it from the public domain. It needs to be accessible out of copyright. So anything that is copyrighted, you shouldn't be using without special permission from the person or company who's copyrighted it. However, there are thousands, I'm sure, of images and photos, things that you can actually download, save in files on your computer, so that at any time you want to access a little collection of papers or images for you to put into your journal or decorate your journal, then they're there ready for you to use. Now, there is a lady who has a company called the Graphics Fairy, and if you look up the Graphics Fairy, there are many images that have already been checked. What she does is she already checks that images she offers on there for free are in the public domain, and it is legal to be able to use them in your craft work. So go and check that out, because it can be quite a lengthy process, you know, trawling through the internet, checking that there are no legalities that you have to be mindful of, and that you can use the images or the writing, script, whatever, is actually free to use for anybody. You can do that yourself. It's easy enough to just search public domain images, and some people do enjoy doing that and finding things that can be utilized in the journals. Now, in part two, I'm going to look at how we can gather images together and supplies for those of us who don't have access to the internet and who don't have access to a printer. But today I'm just going to concentrate on things that I use on a regular basis that's in our little storage file, so that I can print off whenever I feel like using them. Get yourself some script. Script can be used in all sorts of different ways. It does add some interest to the page, and of course we know that different script, different fonts give us a different feel. Like we've got 3 examples here. Now, you can even do this yourself. So you can get some snippets from some typed words, typed documents that you've done yourself. What David's done here is played around with the printing and the size of the image, size of the font, so that you can get different looks. There's something quite flowery and italic about that. And then this is completely different, but again has got quite a distinct style to it. So have a look, see what you can get, because it is very useful, especially in collaging, to get yourself some printed words. Okay, next. Now, these are end papers. Have a look through your really old books. I mean, these are what David has scanned in from end papers of really old books that we have ourselves, and some of them are from the public domain. But end papers, by end papers, if you're not familiar, are the first sheets in a book that more often than not are very decorative, especially in some of the really antique books. They have some really pretty marbled end papers, decorated end papers. And as you can see here, this is just a selection of end papers that you can find. So actually go and have a look at, if you have got a big collection of books and you have got vintage or antique books, have a look to see. We don't always take note of what the end papers look like, and actually I love using them in journaling. Really pretty. So musical notes, scores of music are always a good source to use. On here, it's upside down. It's upside down. Now, you know, it doesn't really matter in crafting and junk journaling, but, you know, for the purists, or I don't know, it drives me mad if I haven't got the treble clef at the end. I'm not a musician. I'm not that great with music, but I like to have the treble clef the right way up. I don't know, that there's something, there must be a bit of OCD there, having the music right way up. I mean, I could put it on the page longitudinal, you know, depending what your image you want to use. I just can't stand it if there's a treble clef on there and it's upside down. Yeah. Just a little minor detail. David has played about with colours here. You don't just have to print it on in black and white on white background. You can alter, and by no means are we experts on the computer. We're not technical experts, but you can see the different images, different effects, should I say, that you can get from playing around with some music. Some of it like this, no wordage in there, just background. That's some really old music there. This has words in as well. It may be that you just want to cut a small amount of wordage out of this as well as music. So like here, it says so bright and clear with some musical notes underneath. In actual fact, you may well want to just cut that little sliver out and use it. It might be relevant to something that you are writing about or the theme of your journal. So writing, script, end papers, music. A couple more end papers there that I think we've covered that, so that can go with my end papers. And then we get on to collaging, and yes, we'll mention collaging again in the next video when I'm looking at what supplies you can use that are not computer related. However, what I do like to do, once I've made my collages, and of course use them as is, but you can paint over the collages, you can stamp on your collages. There's a plethora of things that you can do with them. But I do like to then scan them in, like we've done here, for example. These two, let's put them like that so you can see them. These are actually collages that I've done. Here I have actually just put some white paint over it and scraped that on to give that well-worn look. But I like to scan them in, and then they're fabulous for printing out. So you can use the full collage if you want the texture, but say for example you wanted to use this as a page, a flat page in a journal. You've actually collaged this yourself. You've made this design. But can you see that that would make fabulous papers for an inside your journal? So don't just consider the collaging and using it in its natural state. Consider scanning them in and reprinting them. You can actually affect the colorways as well with that. Next, get your phone, get your camera on your phone out and have a good old snap a good old photo taking session, because it's surprising photographing everyday objects can give you some really great images. And these are just one or two suggestions, one or two of my favourites. So this particular one, this is a stack of our papers. Oh, and by the way, we're hoping soon to be doing some more avocado dyed papers. Really, David's avocado dyeing is fabulous, and those of you that's had our avocado paper, hopefully, drum roll. But this is a stack of our dyed papers, and look at that, that's fabulous. Again there, that's a stack. Look at the texture that you can see in there. That can be used for all sorts of things and as we go along we'll use these. That is playing around with the colour. This is actually a scanned piece of avocado dye. Same with this. You can even see where the pan lines, can't you? The tray lines. And again, you might not want the crinkly texture of the reel, so scan them in. You've always got then these images to use in future projects. Again, this is one of the, you know, the end where you've got the really concentrated avocado dye in the bottom of the tin. Look at the fabulous image that creates. You don't have to use avocado, you can use paint dyes, you can use vegetable dyes, stewing up vegetables. Beetroot's a good one. Cabbage, yeah, we have got some images of cabbage, but I can't cope with the smell of cabbage everywhere. Again, that's the black and white of the page edges. So look at everyday objects. I'll tell you what else we've got in our stash. We've got leeks. So actually leeks have got some great striations on them. Vegetables in general, you can make some really interesting. Cut a parsnip in half, photograph what it looks like inside, manipulate it. It's surprising what things you can create just getting your phone out, photographing everyday objects. David's got some that he did for me, looking at cheese on toast. You know, as the cheese bubbles on top of the toast. We've got some fabulous images of cheese on toast, leeks, all sorts of different images. And, you know, most people have got a decent camera on the phones these days. Have a look, go out in nature, have a look at some walls, you know, raggedy pieces of wood, leaves, autumn now, fabulous colours we can photograph. And all these, you know, can be used in our projects. So hopefully today that's given you a bit of an idea of the sorts of everyday staples, should I say, that I like to print out and have ready when I'm starting a journal. I always like to have script. I always like to have music. I like to have some avocado patterning, and I like some images that we've created ourselves. Also, you can download images of wildlife, of plants, entomology, which is bugs, butterflies, all that sort of thing. You can download those images and they can be utilised as well. I'm just having a look here. A looky here to see if I have got anything else that I had printed off of ours that had got some. I don't think I have. Let's have a look in here. See if I have. See, like, you know, there's some music there. Trying to see if there is, again, Amazon packaging. Some old photographs, actually, they are Tracy Fox from one of their kits. We'll look at more images from nature really in tomorrow's video, when we will be looking at old books that you can cut images out of to use. But again, go to the public domain, go to the Graphics Fairy, find out what images are there that you can use, and yeah, print them off, put them into your little folder and your stash, and they're there whenever you want to start a new project. So I hope that's been useful. It probably seems like, you know, most of you, it might seem like really basic. You've been there before. You've made intricate journals, so this is really quite basic. But sometimes, don't you think that we forget the simple, and we forget where we started, and sometimes, you know, less is more. Simple is best. So hope you've enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe, press the like. It really does help with the algorithm. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this for pleasure now. I'm doing this because it makes me feel better to be doing this for you guys. And hopefully, you know, we can have some fun on the way. Okay then, bye for now.